There needs to be justice. It needs to be heard, and it needs to be expeditious.
All right, now at 6 o'clock, parents and students are voicing their concerns. They say they want action now after a teacher was accused of using a racial slur in a class.
A new report focusing on the cost of living here in our state, what it says about the number of people barely making it financially.
Also, authorities are increasing security at the Big E. We'll tell you what they want you to be aware of if you're heading to the fair for Connecticut Day today.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for waking up with us here at Fox 61 America Areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. And boy, for Connecticut Day, we're going to have maybe the best day of the week. A lot of sun out there. I don't even think a hint of rain, Matt Scott, right? And temperatures mid-70s.
How's that?
Done.
There you go.
Okay.
I think someone's taking your job.
Back to you.
Sorry. I do that sometimes.
No.
We get excited about nice days.
It's share the excitement, right? Absolutely. Enjoy this one. It's a top tenner, especially. I can't remember a Connecticut day that was as nice as what we have. Dry conditions, low humidity, looking perfect. Less perfect, however, the weekend. Let's see if Lammers wants to steal that one from me. Sure. We have a satellite radar picture that looks good. Maybe a few clouds streaking by in the morning. 54 in Hartford, 53 in New Haven, 56 right now in Groton. We're down to the 40s in the Litchfield Hills, and the dew point staying on life support. Boop. Nothing. Just a few clouds now, but overall sunny sky is going to be fantastic if you're heading up to West Springfield. We are looking for a forecast that remains pretty nice until the weekend. We'll talk about that, or maybe Tim will, coming up in a few minutes. Let's turn things over to traffic right now. Symphony, good morning to you.
Matt, that reminds me of Larry David. Pretty good. Pretty good.
There you go.
Let's check out the morning commute now. Not a whole lot to talk about in the 6 o'clock hour, which means, hey, it should be a smooth commute for you, but do want to get you up to speed with what we are checking out this morning. There's some road construction happening on 84 eastbound in Farmington. The exit 39 off ramp is closed right now. The East Haddam Swing Bridge, it's closed until 11 a.m. this morning. Checking out the Hartford drive times, smooth sailing on 91 and 84. As we take a look at the capital city, traffic volume pretty light in the 6 o'clock hour. Down in New Haven, looking good. A little bit of a slowdown on 95 South heading to Bridgeport. That's going to take you 27 minutes. Look at this beautiful sunrise in the works. We're seeing some cotton candy skies out there. And down in Fairfield County, 95 South from Bridgeport to Fairfield, a little bit of a delay there. That's going to take you about 8 minutes as traffic is moving at 40 miles per hour. We wrap with a live look in Fairfield this morning. I'll have another update at 6:30.
Okay, thank you so much, Symphony. This morning, people in West Hartford are continuing to call for action amidst accusations that a middle school teacher used a racial slur in class.
Parents and students voiced their concerns at a Board of Ed meeting last night. Fox 61's Angela Bavaro is joining us live in West Hartford with more on what's next.
Erica, Tim, good morning. The teacher at the center of this allegation has been removed from the classroom pending the investigation into this incident. At the same time, some neighbors, they're calling for accountability, demanding the teacher be fired. Take a look. This was the scene ahead of that Board of Education meeting last night. Some people rallying outside of the building. This all coming after a parent said her son's teacher at Sedgwick Middle School used a racial slur during a math class earlier this month. That teacher allegedly spoke the N-word out loud to a black student after a lesson on inappropriate language and class rules. Concerned neighbors took the podium at last night's board meeting, expressing support for the family of that student.
I hope that we can find ways to heal the people who are involved and every child in the classroom and every child in West Hartford, because they've all been impacted by this event.
It is time that we discuss that despite having really good educational services here, there are disproportionate outcomes at times for children of color.
And new this hour, we're hearing from the West Hartford Education Association, the union that represents teachers. A spokesperson says the teacher used a racial slur as an example when a student asked for, quote, explicit clarification regarding words that were not allowed in the classroom. The union also says the teacher quickly acknowledged their mistake. Now, the superintendent telling us earlier this month that they will not prejudge the outcome of this investigation, but they did say the serious nature of the incident may merit suspension and or termination. We did not get any updates about the investigation during last night's board meeting. You're live in West Hartford this morning. I'm Angelo Bavar, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hey, Angelo, thank you for that report. We will continue to follow the story. 6:05 on this morning. Bridgeport police said one man was sent to the hospital after getting shot last night. They said somebody called 911 to report a shooting last night on West Avenue just before 9 p.m. And they said a second person was grazed by a bullet as well. At this point, we don't know who the shooter was, and police are asking any witnesses to give them a call. Well, the state has agreed to pay roughly $25 million to two men who were wrongfully convicted of murder decades ago, and they said this man here, Henry Lee, had something to do with it. Ralph Birch and Sean Henning would get $12.6 million each if the General Assembly approves that deal early next year. Well, a judge recently ruled that the first man you saw, former Chief Medical Examiner Henry Lee, was liable for using faulty evidence in the case. Their convictions were overturned in 2019 after each man spent more than 3 decades in prison.
Bristol police are looking into 2 reported hate crime incidents. Police say someone wrote a racial slur in chalk on the sidewalk on Rockwell Park over the weekend. Now then on Monday, police say they found swastika painted on a stop sign and a sign at the entrance of Northeast Middle School. Police are asking anyone living in the area to check surveillance cameras to see if they caught those incidents. And if you're heading out to Connecticut Day today at the Big E, expect to see some extra police patrolling the area. West Springfield police say there were 2 fights at the fair over the weekend. They say video of both fights appeared on social media. Officers say the fights appear to be staged by people who want to become TikTok famous. Police are asking the public to be aware of this trend and to report any unusual behavior. The United Way of Connecticut has released its annual report focusing on the cost of living.
Yeah, and according to that report, more people than ever before are struggling to afford the monthly basics of living in Connecticut. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin is live in Hartford with a breakdown of those data. Brooke.
Well, when you really take a look at that report, it shows that Hartford County, New Haven County, and of course Fairfield as well have the most people struggling financially. But overall, 39% of adults can't afford the cost of living. They're simply just not making enough to make those ends meet. Every year, the United Way gathers data for what's called an ALICE report. This looks at those who are asset limited, income constrained, and employed. The data is then compiled to show who lives above the federal poverty level, but below the means necessary to make ends meet. Based on the data from 2021, the report shows more than a quarter of Connecticut residents can't afford both bills and household essentials. This breaks down to 552,000 out of 1.4 million Connecticut residents simply not making enough money to survive. It shows that basic costs for a single person living alone could be as high as $39,000 per year, while a family of 4 is seeing costs around $126,000 per year. The list of expenses used to calculate these figures includes rent, utilities, transportation, and food. Most of the people falling into that 39% number live in Hartford and Fairfield counties, with New Haven following close behind. The report shows financial strain is more likely to be felt by minorities, including people of color, those with a disability, or anyone in the LGBTQ community. Now, right now, Connecticut is number 19 on the list for most financially struggling states. Only one other New England state made that top 20 list, and that's New Hampshire, who currently sits at number 2. Live in Hartford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Brooke, thank you for that report.
All right, 6:09 right now, and 3 people are facing charges accused in an alleged check washing scheme. West Hartford officers say they were tipped off by suspicious activity just after noon on Friday at a bank on South Main Street. Officers say they found burglary tools, washed checks, stolen credit cards, and an improvised device for fishing letters out of mailboxes inside one of the vehicles. Now, if you don't know what check washing is, it's when thieves get their hands on checks that are put in the mailbox, and that could be your mailbox at your house or the blue mailboxes at the post office. Now, in some cases, the thieves change the name on the check, and they may also change the amount on that check as well. Police say there are ways to prevent criminals from stealing your money and to keep you from falling victim to check washing. The biggest deterrent, dropping off your mail inside the post office, not at the blue boxes outside. Police also encourage homeowners to bring your mail in as soon as you can so that it's not sitting outside for a long time. And if you're writing checks, use a gel pen because experts say gel ink is harder to wash off checks. And if you suspect fraud, keep a close eye on your bank account, especially through things like online and mobile banking.